Hello, Franklin Avenue and Evans Park, and welcome to Mr. Price's Art Online. I hope you are having fun. I certainly am. And this week, what I wanted to do was just take a break from our project and talk to you about Mr. Price's Watch-N-Wins. Now, what is a Watch-N-Win? If you go to Mr. Price's website, and in the upper corner up here, you'll see something called Watch-N-Win. If you click it, and you go and you hit that video, you're gonna watch Mr. Price, that's me, make a project. And what I'm gonna do is at the end of the video, I'm gonna ask you to do some art research. So you might have to do some Google investigation, or maybe talk to your mom and dad or someone who knows a little bit about art, and you have to figure out the answers to my questions. And then I want you to record your answers, and you're going to give them to me by submitting them to pricet@pearlriver.org. Make sure your name is on your answer. And I will put your name inside of a bag, and I will raffle off the 2 projects that I make. One for an Evans Park student and one for a Franklin Avenue student. So it's kind of a fun way for me to share my art with you, and also to learn about art history. Okay, so let's jump right into it, and I'm gonna start teaching you my project that I'm gonna make. And a lot of the stuff that I make in Watch-N-Wins are things that I have laying around in my studio, and some things that I see on TV, and I become inspired to create these ideas. So I also wanna show you how I make it, that way you can try it at home. So let's get started. I have these little plastic pots here, and I was gonna get rid of them, and I kept them, and I thought, ooh, I have a great idea for these 2 pots. So here is my Evans Park project. Let me pan you down a little bit. And here is my Franklin Avenue project. Okay, now, step 1 for the project is, because these are very flimsy, they're actually made out of plastic, I'm going to take these 2 rocks, and I'm gonna put them inside. And what I did was I measured the rocks, just so that way you don't see them on the surface. That way this is weighed down, because we need some weight in these pots for the project. All right, so now what I want to do is cover the top of this. And I have this really nice green paper here. And I also have this really nice lime green color. I think these 2 look so nice together. And I might even need a little bit of red. And I'm going to, I think, need some white paper. So if you're at home and you're trying to make this, you can just see some of the colors that Mr. Price is grabbing. Do you see? Okay. Now, oh, my brain just went into another pathway, and I just thought of how I'm going to change this a bit. Alrighty. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a paper plate, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna trace the circle of the pot, and that way when I cut this out, I'll have a circle that is the same size as this, and I'm gonna glue it onto the top of the flower pot, and that way it'll hide the rock. So see, I just traced the circle, put the cap on, cut these out. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little hot glue, make sure that I put that rock back in there. And I'm going to put, actually I'm going to use the side that does not have that waxy surface. Sometimes paper plates have a waxy surface, that way liquid does not fall through the paper plate. See what I did? I just glued it. Now you don't see the rock. And now they're glued shut. Okay, I came across these fake leaves here that I had laying around, and I'm gonna use these leaves to cover the white paper plate. So I'm just gonna rip this stuff off, and I also see that we have these really nice green wires that I can use. So I might use them, but it's not going to work with what I'm doing right now. So these guys might have to go off to the side. Look at that. This could become an octopus. It could be another, oh, I know. I can use this and hang it and make a mobile. A mobile is a hanging sculpture. So this goes off to the side for another day, right? All right. So I'm gonna take these leaves and I'm going to just break them, and I'm going to glue them onto the bottom of each pot, just so that way you don't see the paper anymore. Alrighty. So now what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna take the lime green paper, which is right here, and I am going to roll it into a tube. Let's see. Okay, this is one piece, so I'm just gonna roll it up, just like that. That's pretty good. And I'm gonna take a little bit of glue, and I'm just gonna roll it. Let me move this out of the way. So I put the glue at the bottom, roll it, and now I have a nice tube. I'll show you what that's for in a minute. So let me take another green piece, because I want them to be identical. Like that. And there's a reason why I'm making this a nice big wide tube. You'll see at the end. Okay, so that's pretty good. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this onto there, so you can see how that's going to look. But I think that's a little tall, so let me cut this in half. There we go. I'm going to glue that like that. So I put a nice little thing of hot glue. I'm going to hold that down for a minute. Okay, so my projects have had some time to dry, and they're nice and stuck on there, and the weight of that rock is really holding them down. So I'm gonna put them off to the side. I think I'll put them over here off the camera. And now I'm gonna work with this red paper. So I'm gonna take the red paper and I am going to fold it in half. I wish this paper was a little bit thicker, but I think this is gonna have to do. Okay, so I have some scraps here. I don't need those anymore. So I have my 4 circles because I folded it in half, one for each project. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the 2 circles together. So I have my 2 circles stuck together. And now I'm going to cut them in half like this. Okay. Keep the halves together so you don't lose them. Let me pan you down here. All right. And now I think what I'm going to use will be some paper plate because it's nice and firm. And I am going to use my red pen here. And I'm going to draw 4 of these. Oop, I have some paint on there. That's not going to work. Okay, so I drew some of these weird shapes. You're probably thinking, Mr. Price, what is that? So I'm going to cut them out and then I'll show you. Okay. just move the scraps off. So I have all these white kind of wiggly rectangle looking shapes, right? So I'm gonna take these, run some glue down the one side, and I'm gonna start sticking them to the front and the back of each of these little hot pockets. So boys and girls, now that I have those white thingies glued, I cut out some circles off camera, and I'm just gonna take a little bit of glue and glue a couple of these on. All right, so what I'm doing now is I'm just taking a little bit of glue and just making sure it's all sealed up, and I'm just opening these up like a little hot pocket, like I said before, right? So there's one, and if I All right, so let me take this back, and I'm gonna glue these like that. You guys know what I'm making? I'm making the Venus flytraps from Super Mario Brothers. All right, so what I did was I made a little cut mark in each side there. So I can put a little bit of hot glue running down, just to hold that on. How cool, right? Do you see the Venus flytrap? So let me do the other one here. I'm gonna let that dry off to the side. All right, so now I'm gonna take my extra leaves here, and I'm gonna put a little glue on the back. Just gonna put, I think, a pair of leaves on each side, just to make it look a little more interesting and realistic. So here's a pair of scissors. Just see these leaves come stuck together as I'm cutting them off. So boys and girls, here are my two Venus flytraps. And the reason why I made these tubes on top kind of big was because my original idea was to make these piggy banks. So you put your money into the Venus flytrap, and the money fills up in the tube. And then, when the change hits the top, you can dump it out and see how much money are in the Venus flytraps. So I hope you had fun watching me make these. I had a blast doing these. And now what I want to do is get you back onto the important part of the watch and win, which is to take a look at this painting here. All right, so take a look at it. You may have seen it, you may not have seen it. And what I want you to do is I want you to tell me who is the artist and what is the name of the painting. Okay, so boys and girls, I want you to see if you can figure out the name of the painting that I showed you and who painted the painting. So you might have to do a little research, you might have to do a little homework, you might have to have someone in your house, like an adult, help you out. And also, if you give me a fun fact about the artist, I'll put your name in the hat twice, so you'll get 2 chances in the bag, okay? So give it a try, share with your friends, help them out as well, and you can email me your responses to priced@pearlriver.org. All right? So I hope you had fun today, and I will see you next week in art, and we'll have more fun together. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.